Hey everyone, Foss here. Beating Pokemon Fire Red with only one oddish was like beating my head against the wall, but I somehow got through it. Honestly, it was a lot of fun, but with how long it took me to beat that one, it really got me thinking, how fast can I beat Pokemon Fire Red with just a single Pokemon? To answer this question, I began brainstorming which Pokemon would probably be the best at this. I figured there's quite a few options for this one, but I decided to start at the very end of the Pokédex with Mew. This little pink powerhouse starts off with some hefty stats with 100s across the board. The main downfall of Mew is the fact that it only learns normal type moves up until Psychic at level 40. Therefore, I think I'm gonna have to be relying on Pound, Transform, and Mega Punch for the first couple gyms at least. Luckily, where Mew is lacking the moveset, it makes up big time in this TM and HM learn set. In Generation 3, Mew can actually learn every available TM in the game, which will obviously give me a huge advantage throughout the entire duration of the challenge. So hopefully this one goes rather quickly. To speed up the process, I'll be running this game at 2x speed, but the timer you see on the screen here will be the real time I spent playing. So with that, let's see how fast I can beat Pokemon Fire Red with only a single Mew. Let's take a look at the rules. I can only use Mew on my team, and I will not catch any other Pokemon since Mew can actually learn every HM in the game. There will be no items in battle, and not even held items in this one. There will be no cheats or exploits, and I must beat my rival at the Elite Four to consider this run complete. Before I get started, please remember to let me know what you think of this video in the comments below. Also remember to leave a thumbs up, subscribe, and ring the bell for more videos like this in the near future. But with all that out of the way, let's get to the actual video. I start off the game by using the Universal Pokemon Randomizer to change Bulbasaur to Mew. I don't think it really matters which star I choose to replace, as each one should be equally as difficult. But everyone seems to love Charizard, so I chose to give my rival Charmander to accommodate the audience. I name it Ditto, since it will eventually learn Transform, and honestly you can't tell me that Mew does not look a lot like Ditto regardless. This one is naughty natured, so boosted attack and lowered special defense. I'll take that since Mew's stats are pretty even across the board, and a boost in attack is always nice. Ditto only knows Pound at this point, but that is more than enough to take out a rival who I nicknamed Twerk after one of my loyal Twitch subscribers. Link in the description below, by the way. I am mostly streaming on Tuesdays and Thursdays 8 PM Central Time if you want to come by and watch. I'm currently running a monologue challenge in Pokemon Platinum using only electric type Pokemon, and that one is turning out to be much tougher than I thought it was going to be. But swing by and check it out if you have the chance. But getting back on track, I head to Viridian City where I get the worst tutorial on how to catch a Pokemon. Apparently you're supposed to go into battle with 0 Pokemon at all, throw a Pokeball at a full health Pokemon, and yep, just catch it. Perfect. From there I head through the forest, which was of course very easy, and eventually made my way to Pewter City to take on Brock at level 14. I'm playing with a level cap here, but with the amount of mandatory battles that I have to go through, I think it's going to be pretty hard to stay underneath this level cap. But let's just see how it actually goes. Geodude was up first, and since Mew only knew Pound, I was going to have to find a way to get through this battle quick, since Geodude loves to spam Defense Curl. Pound really wasn't doing a whole lot, so I decided to use Transform, as this will give Ditto the option to use Defense Curl as well, to minimize the damage taken. This also brings all the move PP down to 5 each, which will allow me to use Struggle to hopefully deal more damage to the Onix that is out next. As you can see here, Struggle's actually only doing 1 HP in recoil damage with each hit. So this should not be too bad overall since Geodude is also only dealing 1 HP in damage with each tackle. It eventually goes down, so Onix was out next, and I was really worried when it chose to use Bind on the first turn. This is going to bypass my raised defense and deal consistent damage turn after turn. After spamming the A button for 3 straight minutes, Ditto manages to power its way through Onix using only Struggle to earn us the Boulder Badge, with a whole 2 HP remaining. What a champion. From there I head to Mount Moon, where I pick up a rare candy, an escape rope, and the Dome Fossil. I'm not going to use it, but come on, how cool is Kabutops? Maybe that will make its way into the top 10 fastest Pokemon challenges. Who knows? It's at this point where I realize that I am severely close to the level cap of 19 prior to Misty's gym. I was avoiding all possible trainers heading through the cave, but just the mandatory battles were making me level up super fast. Just outside of Mount Moon, I meet up with these 2 gentlemen here who give me Mega Punch and Mega Kick, which I immediately teach to Mew since it was going to learn Mega Punch at level 20 anyway. It was then time to take on Misty. Staryu was no threat at all, but Starmie was a different story. Mega Punch nearly takes it out in the first turn, but Misty heals it back to full health with the Super Potion, and after that it gets off a Water Pulse, which confuses Ditto. A few turns of Ditto hitting itself in confusion, as well as missing some Mega Punches, results in this downfall. I mean, I would be confused if I was named after Pokemon that I was not, so I really can't blame it. The next battle with Misty goes the exact same way, so on the 3rd attempt I decide to switch it up a little bit. Staryu of course goes down to a single Mega Punch yet again, but then comes out Starmie, who also takes some major damage from Mega Punch. Misty takes the opportunity to heal it back to full health using a super potion, and I choose to use Mega Punch yet again since I was anticipating the heal, so that I could use 2 moves in a row. I then use Transform to change Ditto into Starmie so that it will resist Water Pulse when that happens next. And if you didn't know, Starmie actually knows the move Recover despite Misty never using it. I, on the other hand, take the opportunity to recover some health before Ditto starts to hit itself in confusion yet again. Like I said, I get it. It's now a Mew named Ditto that looks like a Starmie. That's all sorts of confusing. After finally fighting through some confusion and a few swifts from Starmie, Ditto finally is able to take it out with a Water Pulse to earn us the Cascade badge, and we are now still below the level cap of 21. Nice. From there I head north to the Nugget Bridge to take on Twerk yet again. This one went pretty quick as Ditto made easy work of his entire team. Mega Punch was consistently knocking out each member of his team with just a single blow. Except for Abra. It only knows Teleport, so I decided to use Pound instead for some reason, but eventually it does go down, and with that we had beaten our rival for the second time. I then continue north where I find Bill doing some questionable things in his seaside cottage. I help him get through his little fetish here before heading through the underground tunnel and into Vermilion City, where I get the bike voucher from the Pokemon fan club chairman. I then head back to Cerulean City to exchanges for the world's most expensive bike before continuing on to the luxury cruise liner, the SSN. Like any reasonable adult, I enjoyed zero time on the ship whatsoever and went straight into fighting the only person I knew on the entire boat. I don't know about you, but this sounds like a typical family vacation to me. I mean, I had just made quick work of Twerk's entire team, so this one is likely going to be no different. Pidgeotto, Raticate, and Kadabra all go down to a single Mega Punch. Then came Charmeleon, who survives a Mega Punch just to throw a little Smoke Bomb in front of Ditto, before being annihilated by a Water Pulse. I know I could have just used Water Pulse from the start, but I was on a roll with Mega Punch, so I thought it would be enough. But regardless, rival number 3 was a breeze, so we head on to the captain's quarters to get the HM for cut before healing back up to full health and heading into the Vermilion City gym. If you're not aware, the trash can puzzle for this gym is brutal. It relies completely on RNG for finding the 2 switches necessary to open the gate to Lieutenant Surge himself. But luckily for me, I got it on my first attempt. Heh, yeah, I wish. No, actually this one took me 5 minutes at 2 times speed to actually complete this puzzle. This puzzle is so frustrating and honestly a huge waste of time. After that, Lieutenant Surge really wasn't that bad. Voltorb was out first and survives a hit from Water Pulse, but a second one takes it out. Pikachu was out next and started to spam double team after Ditto misses its first Mega Kick. I then decided to rely on a more accurate move such as Cut, but with the overpowered double team being spammed, it was seeming as if I'd have a better chance of finding a shiny Feebas than actually hitting this thing. I mean, have you seen Reversal's full odds shiny Feebas hunting streams? This guy is relentless and has spent over 150,000 encounters without a single shiny Feebas, and people still choose to watch this. That's insane. Absolutely insane. Anyways, Ditto finally lands a cut to take it down, so out comes Raichu. I decided to go for Mega Kick right away, and it lands to take it out with a single shot. I really wasn't too worried about this one going in, and it obviously wasn't too big of a challenge. Sure, I was over the level cap, but there was no way I was going to be here under level 24 with all the mandatory battles along the way. I'll just try to complete this challenge at the lowest possible level instead. Ignore the issues with the timer, by the way. I will fix that. Trust me. Like, literally, right now. I then begin my journey through the dark cave where I actually end up getting knocked out by an Oddish of all things. This guy was like,
"Who the fuck is bad now, bish?"
Alright, sorry Oddish. I'll never talk bad about you again. Also, thank God for the walkthroughs of this cave that are available online, because I was not going to waste a move slot for Flash of all things. So I decided to just power through the cave without it. But once I get to the other side, I head straight to Celadon City, avoiding every battle along the way, just to take on Erika. Despite skipping all these battles, Ditto is currently sitting at level 37, which is well above that level cap of 29. Mew is in the medium slow category for leveling, but you would never guess it based on how fast it actually levels against only the mandatory trainers. I mean, I can't really do anything about that, but let's just take on Erika anyways. She leads off with Victory Bell. It manages to survive a Mega Kick on turn 1, so Erika heals it to full health with a Hyper Potion. Ditto then gets off 2 straight cuts to knock it out, bringing out Tangela, who was really no issue whatsoever. Erika then sends out my worst nightmare, Vileplume. Again, if you don't know what I'm talking about, just check out my Heart Gold randomized Nuzlocke. Vileplume was the bane of my existence. But Ditto lands a Mega Kick before being paralyzed by Stun Spore, but with its synchronized ability, it returns the favor. Erika uses a full heal, but this makes no difference as one more cut is more than enough to take down the stupid flower and earn us the 4th badge of the Kanto region. It's at this point where we need to finish a few tasks before moving on any further. So I head back to the Lavender City Tower where I easily wipe my rival's entire team yet again before beating up on some Team Rocket wannabes and saving Mr. Fuji. He gifts us the Poke Flute and we rush out the door to try our luck at gambling. As we're busy sweeping the winnings off the floor, we happen to notice some dude nonchalantly staring at a poster. After tapping on his shoulder, beating the hell out of him, and finding the switch behind the poster, we reveal the Team Rocket hideout. Nothing spectacular really happens at this point, besides me whooping up on Giovanni, which you will see again shortly enough anyways. So I grab myself a cup of tea, which I give to the guard before heading into Saffron City and onto the Sylph Company storyline. And yet again, my rival feels it's necessary to battle me instead of the individual stealing everybody's Pokemon, because that makes a lot of sense. This was the first time that a rival was actually challenged to Ditto. Pidgeotto and Gyarados go down to a couple Psychics, and Charizard goes down to some Water Pulses, and then out comes Execute. It survives a cut without any real issue, before paralyzing Ditto with Stun Spore. This could make a big difference as it'll cut our speed going forward into the Alakazam battle. We all know how hard Alakazam can hit, but for some reason it feels the need to spam Calm Minds and Future Sights through the entire battle. I mean, it uses 3 Future Sights in a row, and they don't stack, bro. Figure it out. But thanks to my rival's terrible strategy, Ditto's finally able to power through Paralysis and take out Alakazam to defeat our rival for the 4th time. Out of habit, I grab myself Lapras on my way through, and I realize that I'm not supposed to have another Pokemon on the team. So I name it Whoops before heading on to the Giovanni fight. I'm not going to come even close to needing Lapras here, but I just wanted to mention this since you're going to notice that there's 2 Pokemon on my team. And I really didn't want to head back to the PC just to drop that off before coming back here yet again. Just a big waste of time. Giovanni's team is rather weak to Psychic, so I smash A through the initial 3 Pokemon to make quick work of the Nidorino, Nidoqueen, and Kangaskhan. Rhyhorn was out last, and a couple Water Pulses took it out easily. I then head back to the casino to purchase myself more coins. I was not going to give in to RNG this time around, so I just took the easy way out. I then head next door to... Whoa. Okay, I might be a little bit short here still. I guess we will be relying on some RNG, so here we go. Yay. Okay, so I had spent 5 minutes gambling here, so maybe we'll just come back to this at a later time. Maybe I'll just earn more money and just buy more coins. Seems to be the easiest way to do it. Or maybe, just maybe, I'll finally learn that technique that those old elderly women use as they touch the screen as the things are going. That seems to work, right? From there, I take out Snorlax before making an extraordinary effort to avoid all possible trainers on the bike route on my way to Fuchsia City. I think this is the first time I've ever made through this route without encountering a single battle. That's pretty amazing. I then head into the Safari Zone to find a pair of golden teeth before heading into the secret house to get myself the Surf HM. I exchange Water Pulse for Surf and then head to the move deleter to remove Cut from Mew's moveset, which I'm going to replace with Strength. Despite skipping all unnecessary trainer battles, I arrive at Koga at level 48, which is 5 levels above the usual level cap of 43. With most of his team being weak to Psychic, this one's going to be a cakewalk. And who would have guessed? It was. So with that, we head back to Saffron City to take on Sabrina. Sabrina's team is a powerhouse when it comes to special attack, but not when it comes to defense. So with that being said, Strength, being a physical move, should be a solid choice against basically her entire team. Kadabra hardly has time to take a breath before it's sent right back into the Pokeball from which it came. Venomoth was out next, and I now realized I could have used Fly to probably just one-shot it, but I figured the Strength would be enough. Well, it turns out I was wrong, but Sabrina just heals it back to full health before Venomoth goes down to a couple more strengths. Mr. Mime was also one shot, so that brings out her final Pokemon, Alakazam, who hangs on with a single HP before using Calm Mind to boost the special defense and attack. Sabrina then heals it back to full health using a Hyper Potion, but the first strength must have been a low roll, as the second strength is more than enough to take it all the way down from full health with just a single shot. That was surprisingly easy, and we were making pretty decent time overall. I'm not going to lie to you, I again used a guide to get through her gym as fast as possible. But turns out it's actually equally as difficult just to get out of the gym, which there isn't a guide for that. And it may or may not have taken me 4 minutes to do so. From there I fly back to Pallet Town to surf south until I reach Cinnabar Island. This is a strange island where some psychotic gym leader locks himself and his staff inside of a building and hides a key in the deepest depths of a Pokemon mansion. Is there only one way in or out of that place, by the way? Am I actually just saving these people from death at the hands of some white-haired lunatic? This is actually some pretty crazy stuff. I take some time to grab some vitamins before jumping into the basement to get myself the TM for Blizzard, before grabbing the secret key and heading into the gym to become the savior of the island. After knocking all the gym members' pets unconscious, I head on to take on the madman himself. This one should be rather easy considering I could just take full advantage of Ditto's surf attack. It really wouldn't surprise me if I was able to one-shot every one of his Pokemon, but let's see how it actually goes. Growlithe is out first and drops Ditto's attack with Intimidate. Kinda forgot about that one, but that makes no difference at all as Surf takes out with a single shot. Arcanine is out next and again drops Ditto's attack with Intimidate. Due to this, Surf really isn't enough to take out Arcanine in a single shot, but Blaine and I go back and forth between him healing up Arcanine and bringing it back down to red health. I eventually win the stalemate and bring down Arcanine with strength. Blaine's final two Pokemon, Ponyta and Rapidash, go down as fast as they arrive, so with that, I had earned the Volcano badge, and therefore I'm down to just one last badge needed here in the Kanto region. As I exit the gym, I'm ambushed by Bill, who sweeps me away on his friend's boat that conveniently arrives just as I finish off the 7th gym leader. This gives off some real Dexter vibes here. Am I going to die? Nope, even worse. I'm swept away to the Sevi Islands against my will, where I'm forced to take on a group of bikers before rescuing this little girl who has been threatened by this Hypno. This Pokemon is truly one of the creepiest ones in the entire game, and overall this entire scene is rather dark. Hypno of course though is no match for Ditto, so I return the little gal back to her grandfather and also give him the meteorite in the process. After this, Bill decides I've done all that I need to do, so he allows me to actually return to the main region. From there I fly to Viridian City to take on the 8th and final gym. Again, how is everybody okay with the leader of Team Rocket being the gym leader here? Are there just no background checks for this position? Also, the guy doesn't even wear a freaking costume, so everyone knows it's him. Regardless, this battle goes just as one would suspect. His entire team is weak to either Surf or Psychic, so this was really not going to be any problem whatsoever, and basically just a formality. After 50 seconds, we had wiped Giovanni's entire team with just a single shot each to earn us the 8th and final gym badge. It's pretty sad to think that the most difficult gyms of this region were actually the first two. Again, Mew is leveling up much faster than I had anticipated, and I think the only way that I could have actually kept it below that level cap was having another Pokemon on the team just for the mandatory trainer battles. Upon leaving the gym, I make my way towards the Elite Four. I completely forgot that I had skipped that rival battle at the very beginning of the game, since I usually fight this one early on, but not this time. But with the level gap closing, this one might actually be a little bit more difficult than the previous ones. Pidgeotto was out first and withstands the Psychic before retaliating with a wing attack for minimal damage. X-Strength from Ditto takes it out, and Rhyhorn was out next, but Surf does away with it immediately. Looking back, I should have just used Fly against Execute, but a couple strengths got the job done as well. Ditto was paralyzed in the process though, so now Twerk's Pokemon were going to be able to outspeed it. Gyarados was out next and drops Ditto's attack with Intimidate, but then chooses to use Leer 2 turns in a row, followed by Rain Dance. Good choice of moves on the AI's part, by the way. I'm not going to argue that. Since Gyarados had the audacity to boost Surf's damage through the use of Rain Dance, I took down Charizard with a single shot. I doubt that Surf actually would have taken it down without the Rain Dance boost, but I'm not going to argue this one. I then spend the next 10 minutes making my way through Victory Road before I finally arrive at the Indigo Plateau. I was able to get to this point with only 3 deaths overall, and honestly it easily could have been 0 if I had made some better choices in the early game. Well, let's take a look at Ditto's stats one more time before we head into the first battle against Lorelei. I had to use some protein, calcium, and carbos to raise Ditto's attack, special attack, and speed, so that gets me what you see here. I could have focused more on IV training, but I knew that this one was going to be pretty easy overall, so I spent a little time focusing on that, so these stats are definitely not optimized. I had also used the move Deleter to forget Strength, which I'd replaced with Earthquake. Alright, with that, make your guesses below on whether or not you beat the Elite Four on my first attempt. Here we go. Yeah, the quick answer to that is no. I cannot beat it on the first attempt. At least not with this strategy. Lorelei was consistently wiping my team time and time again, so I had to switch something up. Thinking back, I decided I could have exchanged Earthquake for an electric attack, and there is one back in Celadon City that I could think of that will do just fine. So you know what that means. Yep, time to head back to the casino. Okay, I was not going to gamble my way to 4,000 coins, but I did have the money to purchase them outright. So I do just that and head next door to get myself the TM for Thunderbolt and use it to replace Earthquake before heading back into the Elite Four to give it another try. I had better progress overall, but after 10 failed attempts, I was becoming increasingly frustrated and had to change something up. I did make it to the champion one time in these 10 attempts, but it wasn't even close when I faced them. But then I had a wild idea. I leave the Indigo Plateau and head back to the move Deleter in Fuchsia City. I make Ditto forget Surf and Fly, and instead teach it Blizzard and Flame Blast. And though you may be asking,
Hey Foss, how are you going to get back to the Indigo Plateau, dummy?
Well, since you asked, that was the last place I used the Poke Center. So if I'm able to knock out Mew, then I'll just white out and return back to the Elite Four with my new moveset. This is easier said than done though, as I quickly realized that I probably should have waited to teach Mew these new moves until after I got back to the Indigo Plateau. That was kind of a huge waste of time, but I eventually use up all of Mew's PP, and it eventually knocks itself out from the recoil damage from Struggle. And with us arriving back at the Elite Four, let's take a look at the moveset one last time. Psychic, Thunderbolt, and Blizzard are going to be the go-to moves through the majority of the Elite Four, and with only one elixir in my inventory, I was going to have to conserve what little PP I actually had. I used my final PP up on Blizzard, then make my way back into the Elite Four for hopefully the final time. First up was Lorelei, who had absolutely stopped me numerous times already up until this point. Her Dugong takes Thunderbolt on turn 1 and is paralyzed in the process, and then gets off Surf before being brought back to full health by a full restore. Thunderbolt again brings it to low health and paralyzes it, which allows Diddle to take it out on the next turn, so Lapras is out next. Thunderbolt brings it to yellow health, which triggers the Citrus Berry to bring it just above half health. Lapras' Ice Beam does fairly decent damage, but another Thunderbolt should be enough to take it out unless I get another low roll, which I do not, so another one takes it down and out comes Cloyster. It oftentimes chooses to use Protect on turn 1, but not this time around, so it goes down to a single Thunderbolt, bringing out Slowbro. Thunderbolt does huge damage, but Slowbro uses Amnesia to boost its defense before being brought back to full health with a full restore. This was a big deal in my previous attempts, but this makes no difference this time around as a lucky crit hit takes it all the way down from full health, bypassing the defense boost from Amnesia. At this point, Jinx was all that stood in my way, and was the primary reason why I wanted Fire Blast. But it survives the first shot with only red health. I was lucky yet again as it misses Lovely Kiss. If it would have landed this and put Diddle to sleep, the result of this battle would have been much different. But that's not the case here, and with that, we finished off the first member of the Elite Four. Bruno was an absolute breeze due to Mew being a Psychic type and knowing the move, well, Psychic, and Bruno's entire team relies heavily on defense or his fighting type. Since Psychic is a special attack and super effective against fighting types, it should come as no surprise that this one goes rather quickly. And with that we move on to Agatha, where the story is much the same. Every Pokemon that she has is weak to Psychic, so that was my go-to move on all but Golbat since Thunderbolt was going to be more than enough to take that one out, and preserve some PP on Psychic just in case of need for Lance for some reason. So with that being said, we are on to the fourth member of the Elite Four. Side note here, why do they insist on calling the Elite Four instead of Elite 5? I mean, there are 5 total trainers here. Figure it out, Pokemon. Lance starts off with Gyarados, who immediately drops Diddle's attack using Intimidate. Thunderbolt was more than enough to take it out, but when Blizzard misses Aerodactyl and it hits Diddle with Scary Face, I was a bit worried. The speed drop is going to be more than enough to allow all members of Lance's team to now outspeed Ditto. That could be a big deal going forward. The Fossil Pterodactyl then proceeds to get off 2 straight Ancient Powers, which luckily does not give it the Omni Boost. In the meantime, Ditto is overplaying in the snow and finally decides they can at least share some with the Flying Friend, and a single Blizzard was enough to take out Aerodactyl, so Dragonite was out next. Outrage lands and puts me into an Outrage myself, as it deals huge damage. But Blizzard actually lands in the first turn, and takes out the obese Dragon with just a single shot. The next 2 Dragoners also outspeed, and after being hit by Outrage, I was a little bit worried that Ditto's health was getting a little bit too close for comfort. But luckily for me, the last 2 attempts I had at Blizzard land consecutively to take out both Dragonairs, therefore defeating Lance and getting me to the champion himself. Remember earlier that I said I only had 1 elixir? I was able to save it up until this point, so I used it to raise the PP on all moves back up to 10 before healing Ditto and taking on this final battle. Our rival leads off with Pidgeot, which loves to spam Sand Attack, and I'm not going to take the risk of lowered accuracy for the remainder of the battle. I choose to forego the use of Thunderbolt and choose to use Blizzard instead. If this lands, it'll give me much more power and should hopefully take out this bird with a single shot. It actually does land on the first attempt and takes out our Flying Friend with just a single shot, and therefore Gyarados was out next. It again drops Diddle's attack with Intimidate, but despite this, Thunderbolt makes quick work of it, and also the Charizard that comes out shortly after. This actually surprised me as Charizard has been handling most of what Mew threw at it throughout the majority of the run. But Alakazam still had me worried. With all my attacks being special attacks, I didn't really have a fantastic option here. But luck was on my side as I land both Blizzard and Fire Blast on my first attempts to actually take it out. From there, Rhydon and Exeggutor were easy targets for Blizzard, so with that we had finally defeated our rival and earned ourselves the champion of the Kanto region. Let's take a look at how we did. I was able to defeat the champion by only being 1 level over the level cap, which I'm not gonna lie was actually pretty good. I started the Elite Four at 61, so completing the Elite Four at level 65, just 1 level over the highest level that Twerk had, isn't that bad. This challenge really wasn't too bad overall, especially considering how overleveled Ditto was for some of the earlier gym badges. I finished with a time of 4 hours, 11 minutes, and 21 seconds, which is actually much slower than I was expecting. I know I didn't really have the routes optimized and kept the timer rolling during my team recaps, but I'm sure I could have at least cut off an hour or more if I tried this again, especially knowing what I know now. Despite this being an overall easy run, I had a lot of fun, and I'm looking forward to doing more challenges like this in the near future. But that's going to do it for today's video. If you like this video, please let me know in the comments below. Also remember to leave a thumbs up and consider subscribing for more videos like this in the near future. If you want to check out some other challenges I've taken on, check out the playlist in the description below. I've already completed a randomized Nuzlocke of Heart Gold, a surprise lock in Sword, a randomizer Nuzlocke of Alpha Sapphire, and an oddish only run in Fire Red. If you want to watch me take on some of these challenges live, come join me on Twitch, link in the description below. But with all that out of the way, thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one.